Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? It's been a while, so pardon me, but I've been a little busy with some other stuff. We also haven't had quite the best of weather, and I've been doing a small amount of volunteer initiatives. Pardon some of the background noise, so I'll try and talk a little louder. But there's been a lot going on, and focusing on the up-and-coming election between Biden and Trump, which, let's face it, that's inevitably what it's going to be. I'm not really focused on the polls. What I have been focusing on, and talking with some other voters, is a lot of people are focused on the whole ageism thing, and specifically towards Joe Biden, who, I forget exactly how old he is. He's like, what, 81, 82? I'm not 100% sure, but, well, let's face it, he's up there in years. And some people are looking at that and finding that to be a little questionable, like, oh, I don't know, maybe he may not be the ideal candidate to vote for and everything. Why? Because he's too old. Here's my response. No kidding. Of course he's old. He was considerably old back in 2020 when he defeated Trump. Fair and square, yes. No widespread voter fraud, but regardless of if you accept the truth or not, the simple fact was he was up there in years. So here we are, 3 years going on 4 years later. What'd you expect? Okay, he's not Benjamin Button. He's not going down in years. Of course he's going to be older and stuff. But for the most part, I would say that he's made a lot of sound decisions. He's made some mistakes. Let's be honest, he's not perfect. And I can at least look back on certain policies that he was able to pass in spite of some of the resistance that he's had to deal with and other things. So, but the issue I've has is they're focusing more on his age compared to Donald Trump, but they're setting up what is pretty much a false equivalency, okay? Because one of the things I tend to focus on is evidence, and for the most part, like I said, everyone's like, well, I don't know if he's going to make another 4 years. Well, let's look at that in terms of Trump. Why am I choosing Joe Biden over Donald Trump? Well, I'll just come out and say it, and I'm going to keep a specific word out of it. I'm not going to say it. A lot of you people have heard and have questions about it, but for the most part, Donald Trump is an absolute lunatic, okay? He's been showing cognitive decline, and he has said a lot of pretty things that are pretty scary. And, I'm sorry, that was an oxymoron. He's just said some pretty scary things. Now, I'm going to go by his words, okay? Because I know right away some are going to be like, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. No, it's not that. I'm going by what he is saying, okay? These are things that you cannot deny. Okay, let's start it. He said he's going to be a dictator on day one. And what he intends to do for the most part is pretty much get rid of a lot of staff in Congress, as many as he can, and replace his staff with loyalists. Yes, yes people. People that no matter what he says, no matter what he does, even if it's unethical, even if it's unconstitutional or somehow unlawful, they're going to give him exactly what he wants. Now, if you have any doubts about that, well, let's look at the evidence. Let's look at the RNC. He recently put his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, as one of the co-chairs because she just has so much experience governing and stuff like that. No, she doesn't. She's just pretty much there to be someone to do exactly what he wants. And what was one of the early things they done? They fired a lot of people. Okay? Because, like I said, they wanted the RNC to be nothing but Trump supporters that are going to follow his whim and his orders without question. To the T. Okay? This is not speculation. I'm going by what he's saying. Some of the things that he said in the past. He wants to do a widespread abortion ban, which we've already seen through evidence and through other events that has been pretty devastating towards women. Only now he's backpedaling a little bit recently. So, okay, it's not about that he cares about women. It's just he's seeing that the abortion issue is not very popular, so he's trying to go against it. But his own words, he wants to do a nationwide abortion ban that includes criminally charging any woman who gets an abortion. And more states are taking this lead without providing any exceptions for rape and incest. One of the things he's also said he'd want to do is get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Take away everyone's health care, which is what would happen. And he tried to do that in his first 4 years. He managed to dismantle it a little bit, but not get rid of it altogether. And even at one point, Mike Pence, back when he was in Trump's good graces and was the vice president, had said like, well, we'll just get rid of it and we'll replace it later. What do you mean replace it later? If you replace it later, in the meantime, however that long that grace period might be, weeks, months, years, you're gonna have people without health care. What if they get into an accident or they get really sick? They fall into medical debt. Well, Trump still says like he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act simply because it was by Obama. No logic, no reason, no contingency or replacement, okay? That can have devastating effects. And the other thing that he's mentioned, as well as other members in the GOP, is they want to make cuts to Social Security and Medicare. That would have serious impacts to especially seniors. They would start losing their health care. Social Security is not some privilege, something we've been paying into. It's our right. But he wants to make cuts to that. Oh, and on top of that, tax cuts for the wealthy. Gee, it's not like he's ever done that before, okay? So it's not like, as if that wasn't enough. I could keep going on, but you get the idea is that basically Donald Trump wants to go in, not only insulate himself to shield himself from all the criminal charges he's facing in the trials, but that he just wants to pretty much make himself dictator above all America. He has also said he wants to do away with the Constitution. So let's break that down a little bit. Let's say you voted third party. Third parties never win. They never do. Robert Kennedy, he's not going to be president. In fact, one of his the people on his campaign, I'm blanking on her name, but put out a statement saying we're doing this to try and take away enough votes from Biden so that, you know, we can get Trump back in office, or at least get it even, in which case the House would have to make the decision, controlled by Mike Johnson. What is Mike Johnson going to do? Well, he likes licking Donald Trump's boots, as he showed us recently, not only by doing away with the border bill, thanks to Trump, but also by claiming they want to pass a law for undocumented immigrants to not be able to vote in elections anymore. There's just one little wrinkle there. That law is already in place. So again, it's not about getting things done. It's just about loyalty to Donald Trump. That is the fatal flaw with MAGA. MAGA is not about America first. It's not patriotic. It's not about serving country or the American people. It's about serving Trump, one person. And that's where the flaw lies. So when somebody says to me, well, Biden is too old, my answer to that is, so what? It's a false equivalency. Joe Biden has been able to expand the Affordable Care Act. He's been able to lower on certain drug prices like insulin and stuff. He passed the CHIPS Act. That helps all Americans. He passed the infrastructure bill. And the, I believe it's the Inflation Reduction Act that helped brought down some of the inflation, which a lot of you guys like to complain about. He helped to organize a bipartisan deal to deal with the border crisis, which a lot of you people have trouble with. But that's something, like I said before, Donald Trump did away with. So what are we talking about here? It's got nothing to do with Joe Biden's age. What you're saying is if you either voted for Trump or you chose not to vote because you have doubts about Biden's age and capability, and Trump wins, what then? What if he does what he says he's going to do? Because some of the people are like, oh no, he's joking, or he doesn't mean that, or I'm taking it out of context. No, I don't think so. This is a few rare moments where I actually believe what Donald Trump is saying. And even if I'm unsure, even if there's a certain smither of doubt, do you really want to take that chance? Because once he's in, that's it. It's game over. He's going to keep himself not in president for just 4 years. He's going to do everything he can to stay president till life. And who knows how long that'll be. Even if it's just 4 years, a lot of damage can happen. But you'll be saying, like, in a second Trump presidency, if you lose your health care because he did what he said he intended to do, take away the Affordable Care Act, you're just going to be like, oh, I lost my health care, but, you know, Biden was too old, so. Or if he makes cuts to Medicaid and Social Security, and suddenly you can't retire early. Some members of the GOP have talked about raising the retirement age. So instead of retiring at 65, assuming you could do that, you would have to wait longer. Oh, but I mean, you know, hey, Biden was too old and everything and stuff like that. When the nationwide abortion ban goes out, and somebody in your family, like your daughter, your wife, sister, an aunt, suddenly needs an abortion and can't get it because, you know, of all the restrictions that Trump put in. And then she has to suffer medically. Her health care has been deprived and compromised. You'll be like, well, yeah, that's bad, but you know what? Biden was too old. You're going to be sitting there like a bunch of clueless wonders wondering why were we so hung up on the age thing? Because that's what the whole point of it is. It is a distraction. I don't care how old Joe Biden is. Yes, he's old. So what? He knows how to do the job. He is not a lunatic by Trump. He doesn't want to be a dictator. He wants to abide by the Constitution. And as I said, I can list accomplishments that he has done, which is more than I can say for the GOP, which has become dysfunctional. You don't believe me? Talk to Chip Roy, who screamed about what's the GOP done and nothing. Marjorie Taylor Greene, some of your favorites out there. She says, you know, the GOP can't get things done. Look at Mike Johnson. What has he done lately? He's just sucking up to Trump. He's not interested in helping the American people. And in the meantime, while Trump is not president, he's doing all his grifts so he can get money out of you to pay for his legal bills. I don't care how old Biden is. He can have a gray beard past his kneecaps. I will still choose him over Trump because he is better. I don't care if he's being pushed around in a wheelchair with his head sloshed and drooling. I will still choose him over Donald Trump because he is better. Joe Biden is the better candidate. He is smarter. He understands the job. He is a career politician. You can talk about some of the mistakes he made and the fact that he's not perfect. I get it. Again, I'll admit, 2020, I wanted somebody else, but that didn't happen. So now it is Biden and Trump. So who am I going to choose? I'm not going to be distracted by the whole ageism thing and say, well, I guess I just won't vote or third party. That's a waste of time. I'm going to choose Joe Biden because I'm not just thinking about the sake of myself, but I'm thinking about the sake of the American people in both blue and red states. That is the right choice to make. There is no, equivalency here. Oh, and the kicker, I almost forgot. Last time I checked, Donald Trump is pretty up there too. He's only away from Biden by what, 3 or 4 years? He's also showing cognitive decline. And he has said a lot of crazy things from thinking Joe Biden's going to lead us into World War II. Newsflash, that already happened. We won, but I get it. He forgot how to count. How there were airports during the American Revolution, and so on and off. Likes to say you need an ID to buy bread. Name the store where that happens. I would love to go to that store and present my ID and say, 1 loaf of bread, please, okay? I know what I'm talking about. And again, it's not Trump derangement syndrome. It is going by the things that he says. Take him for his word. Don't take the chance. Make the right choice and vote blue. Because so far, this GOP has become too entrenched in MAGA, which is just self-serving for one person and not the American people. So I'm not fooled by the ageism thing, so please don't be fooled by that as well. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. It's being smart and being the fact that, like I said, I care about the American people. So I'm going to put the person in charge that's going to do the right thing. And right now, it's Biden. No two ways about that. You can't deny the facts. So anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.